Welcome to the question of the day. Today's question is from Antonio in British Columbia. And Antonio asks, what are the best doing? Give me a tip that the best salespeople are doing that others aren't doing. Great question. I get asked this a lot. We should always be looking at what are the best doing, regardless of what your role is. So we're talking about sales, but I don't care what if you're a teacher, if you're a garbage collector, if you're a politician, what are the best doing? Because what you can do is you can stair step your way to where they are. Odds are, whatever you want to achieve, somebody else has already achieved it, right? Somebody else has already had that success. So you can use them as a role model to see, all right, who is that person? What are they doing? And then back it up. What did they do to get there? Just create like a stair step approach of what are the things, the plan I have to do to get to where they are to achieve that, right? So usually somebody's always achieved this already. And when we're talking about sales, yeah, it's been done. Like just go look at sales books. There's millions of sales books and tons of sales experts out there that have it all figured out already. And there's different processes. We'll talk about like which ones to pick here, but somebody's already done sales. There's success found in sales. And so find that and stair step your way there. So we should always be looking to do what others aren't doing. So I'm going to give you two. You asked for one. You said one tip, but I'm going to give you two big opportunities that you can do today that nobody else is doing, or very few people are doing anyways. So one is going to be one's going to be kind of boring. One's going to be like the vegetables, right? Like if you came to me and said, "Hey, I want to get healthy," I would tell you to eat your vegetables and work out, right? Like that's kind of boring though. We all know that already. So one is going to be a boring vegetables example. The other is going to be spicy nachos with jalapeños, extra jalapeños. It's going to be more exciting, okay? But the key is both of these things, not many are doing. The ones that are doing it are probably the top 10% in the industry. So, that's why I still have a job, really, because very few people choose to do it. But we know how to do it. I mean, really, sales is hard. If everybody could do it or be willing to do it, to put in the time and effort, like I wouldn't have a job anymore. There'd be no reason for a sales coach. So let's jump into it. Two tips. What are the best doing that others aren't doing? So here's the vegetable example. Just do the process. Someone else already figured this out. Now I have the luxury of I get to go visit lots of companies and I get to see the very best, the very worst, and everything in between, right? And so I see all these companies and what they're doing, and I can dig into their data and see what the results are. And what I start to see is I start to see these top 10%, right? The ones that are putting up the best sales numbers, the best closing, the best average sale, and I get to see what their processes are. And a lot of them, there's similarities in their process. They're doing the same things. And that's what becomes that process, right? So I can see the best always do these things. That's where I always talk about like ride-alongs, training, one-on-one, curbside feedback, and win the day and setting goals. Like doing these things leads to success. All companies that are those top 10%, they're doing these things consistently. The ones that aren't, they're not doing those things. So like, you start to see things like that. So follow the process, do the process. That's the first one. But very few are actually doing it. They don't invest the time to practice it, or they don't invest the time to go training, or they don't invest the time to hold accountable. They'll practice it until they get it, but they don't practice it until they can't get it wrong, or they think they know better, or they sort of do the process. I do parts of it. I pick and choose. I cherry pick what I do, but that one's out of my comfort zone, so I don't do it. They don't say comfort zone. They say that's, like dumb, but really that's it. It's out of their comfort zone and they don't want to be uncomfortable, right? Or they'll combine it with another process. I'll cherry pick some from here, cherry pick some from there, and merge them together to make my own process because I know better, right? And and the thing is, like I said, somebody's already figured this out. All you got to do is you got to find that process that works, that accomplishes what you want to do, and then just do that process. Like, don't cherry pick, don't merge it with something else. Just do it. It's the same as like working out, right? Like if I wanted to be fit, there's a lot of different processes to do that. I could train to run a marathon or I could train to be a power lifter. Both by definition are fit. But if I cherry pick from both, they're gonna conflict with each other. The things I do for the marathon running are going to hinder me in the powerlifting and vice versa, right? You don't see very many bulky, muscular marathon runners. And it's the same thing when you're cherry picking pieces from different processes. So rather than cherry picking and making your own and making it more complicated, just find that one that works and then do that one. Even if it's got pieces that you're not currently doing and make you uncomfortable, just do that one. It's like abs, man. Like we got this figured out. We could all have six-pack abs if we wanted to now. Like there is tons of information on the exact workouts you need to do, the exact diet you need to do, how often you need to do it, how much. Like I could get six-pack abs if I wanted to. The plan's out there. Others have already figured this out. It's the same with the sales process. Just do it. And here's an example. I got an example. So when I used to coach automotive companies, there was one company I coached and they had the number one selling Mazda salesperson in the country, not in the city, not in the region, but in the country. And for perspective, this gentleman, a good salesperson would sell, or an average salesperson would sell about 12 cars. Good would sell about 20. He was selling consistently 75 cars a month. He even had some months where he almost cracked 100 cars. Figure that out. That's like 4 cars a day. And everybody, all these new people would come to his location and I would watch them and they would all say, I'm going to follow him. I want to see what he's doing. And at the end of the day, I would check in with them and they were all disappointed by the end of the day. The reason they were disappointed, he didn't have a silver bullet. He didn't do anything magical. All he did was the process. That was it. That's boring. He ate his vegetables and he worked out. Now, he did it very well. He had maximized every part of the process. He did it about as efficiently as you could. He was very fast without losing any value. And he would put in extra time. I mean, he was first one in, last one out. He was working 6 days a week. He'd work 7 if car dealerships wouldn't have been closed on Sundays. Like, so I mean, he's putting in the effort though. That's it. Just the process. Do the process. So that's the first one. That's the boring one. But what are most salespeople not doing? They're not doing the process religiously. So that's the first one. All right, here's the sizzling one. The spicy nachos with extra jalapeno. Very few people do it. The people that I do see do this though, the thing they have in common is they're high performers. I don't see low performers do this very often. The ones that do it, it's probably less than 10% of the salespeople I see. The thing they have in common though is they're all high performers. And here it is. They grab a coffee on the way to the customer's house. That's it. Real simple. So they're making their call en route to the customer, right? And they're saying, hey, this is Chris. I'm from XYZ company. I should be at your house in about 10 minutes, right? And then they add this part on the end. They just say, oh, and also, I'm passing by a Starbucks right now. I mean, did you want me to grab you something? The key is to say passing by, not stopping. If I said, hey, I'm on my way to your house, I'm going to stop at a Starbucks for a sec, that makes it sound like I'm putting my priorities first. I'm not serving you. But if I just say, hey, I'm passing one right now, do you want me to stop by? Now it's all on you. I'm doing this for you. I'm stopping in for you, right? And insert whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a Starbucks, right? But there's coffee joints everywhere. So they're easy to find. Not out of the way, so you're not losing a bunch of time to get to the customer's house. So it doesn't have to be a Starbucks. Insert whatever coffee place you have locally. And the reason coffee works is because pretty much everyone has a coffee order. Most people are coffee drinkers, and if they're not coffee drinkers, they still have something they would get from a Starbucks type location. A smoothie, a hot cocoa, a tea, something, right? They would get something. So it's probably going to work 95% of the time. And the thing is, honestly, most customers aren't even going to take you up on it. But the fact that you offered now started to create that reciprocity. So here's what this does. when you do this, it separates you from the competition. Like I said, nobody else is doing this. And I'm constantly looking for opportunities to differentiate myself from my competitors. Because my competitors, I know what they do. They're going to be a number on a piece of paper. My number is going to be higher than their number. And so I have to have tons of value adds throughout my process. And this is a big one. Nobody else is going to stop and grab my coffee on the way out. It's like the abs. We know how to do it. We don't. They're not going to do it. Most companies know to do this. They've heard of this. This isn't like new information to most of you, but nobody does it. Okay. So separates you from the competition. Next thing it does, it creates that reciprocity. So reciprocity is when somebody does something for you and you feel like you have to do something in return. You're inclined to return that favor. I always think of it like a Christmas gift. Every year you buy your Christmas gifts, you're all ready for Christmas, like done, check. But then somebody comes out of the woodwork and gives you a gift, somebody you weren't expecting. And your first thought is, I didn't get them anything, right? And so what do? Right? So you got this gift now, and I didn't get them anything. So what do? You do some last minute shopping, right? You're jumping on Amazon right away. Can I get this shipped overnight? You're running to the store, something like that. You're going to get them a gift because they got you a gift. You feel inclined to return that gift. That's what reciprocity is. And so now you doing something for them, you're going out of your way, you're stopping at a coffee joint out of your own money. You're picking up this coffee and bringing it to them. You're creating that reciprocity because I did something for them. They're going to be feeling inclined to do something for me. Now, the other thing this is going to do, so it's going to separate you from the competition, create reciprocity. The other thing it does is it creates an opportunity where we share a drink together because I'm probably going to get myself something on the way, and you should, okay? And then we'll both have a coffee, and now we're sharing drinks together while we're starting the process. And think about this. Who do you share drinks with? You share drinks with family, friends, people you trust. That's who you share drinks with. This is a great opportunity to move from just a salesperson to being a trusted expert. Every 4 years, when there's a presidential election, there's all kinds of polls that come out. One that I always get a kick out of is which candidate would you share a beer with? And really, that poll ties exactly into this. They're asking, who do you trust? Because when you think of the two candidates, issues aside, who would you rather sit down and share a beer with? You're saying that's the candidate that's likable, the one that I can trust, the person that you can share a drink with. So it separates you from the competition, creates reciprocity, and establishes you as the trusted expert. Now, you want to add some extra jalapenos here. If you want to up your game, you can go from sharing drinks to breaking bread. And I'll give you an example here. So I was in Michigan. I was riding along with a company, a salesperson specifically, their top salesperson. And we were talking about this concept. He told me that he does this. He says, just so you know, when I go to my customers' homes, I offer them a coffee on the way. So we may have to stop and get a coffee. And then he even said, sometimes if it's noon, I'll even offer them lunch. And this is what he said. This is exactly what he said. He said, I don't know how much this costs me, and I don't know exactly what this gets me in additional sales, but I do know the return on investment is there. I know I get more in sales and more in commissions than whatever it is I spend on these coffees and these lunches here. He believed it, right? And he's a top salesperson. I believe him, right? So, in fact, we run this call and it was noon, right? Because we did some training in the morning and it was about lunchtime and we were running off to this call here. And so it's lunchtime. So I got to see this in action. And he calls the customer and he says, hey, this is, Joe from XYZ company, and we're going to be there in 10 minutes. By the way, it means lunchtime. Have you had a chance to grab some lunch yet? Do you want me to stop and pick you something up? And you hear this pause on the phone. And the lady on the other end, she goes, well, I wouldn't say no to Taco Bell. And he goes, yeah, I'd love to stop by Taco Bell. What would you want? And she goes, well, I guess I would take some nachos with extra jalapenos. And like as he's doing this, I'm expecting a big order and I can hear the call. So I'm like writing it down for him and stuff. But yeah, nachos with extra jalapeno. So we stopped into Taco Bell. We got a nachos with extra jalapeno. It cost $5.35. And when we pulled up to that house, that customer is literally hanging out the door as we pull into the driveway, hanging out the door, smiling ear to ear because she was so excited that the salesperson offered to buy her lunch and was bringing nachos. And the funny thing is, she didn't even eat them right away. She set them on the table and we started our sales process and she didn't even dig into them. But as the salesperson began, they set their visual agenda and set the expectation to come with. She was with us the whole way. And not just with us, she was engaged and excited. She even opened up the HVAC system herself. The salesperson had her open the HVAC system. And even she was the one diagnosing the problem. So before she opened it, he said, hey, I don't want to see any rust, dust, mold, moisture in here. And when she pulled that door off, there was a whole lot of dust and hair and just, ugh. And she looked, I remember that she looked up at us like, oh my God, what do we do? That's exactly what you want to happen. They're part of finding that problem, and now they're looking to you for the solution. So there you have it. Two things that the best salespeople are doing that no one else is doing. Number one, execute the process. Number two, offer to grab a coffee on your way out. That's today's question of the day. If you're enjoying question of the day, follow, share, and give a rating. Question of the day is on major streaming platforms. If you have a question, reach out to me either on social media or email. Both are going to be listed below in the show description. Let's get your questions answered. Or if you're an XR member, schedule a call with me and we can address this one-on-one and get very specific to your situation. I'm Coach Chris. We'll see you tomorrow.